you know, Joseph did the same thing that, you know, he said what he's done, and that's the same thing that you've done. And I don't know why it doesn't work for you. I don't know if something happened, if that DLL file was corrupt for some reason. But some people it works for, and some people it doesn't, and I don't know what to do about that. With Ninja 8. Ninja 7, you know, we don't have any problems with Ninja 7. Ninja 8, it's been a problem from the beginning. And I didn't realize it's been so long. It's been a couple of years now. It was working fine for, you know, I don't know, the first year. But it seems like lately when people are trying to get to Ninja 8, it's a problem. Alright. Well, let me do my recap, and yeah, it wouldn't work like that. You know, zipping it up and trying to import it. Yeah. I suppose you could try to do that, zip it and try to import it, but I don't think that would work. Okay. Well, let me do my part here. Okay, it's 12:13, and this will give Dwayne another 5 or 10 minutes to get his coffee and get his monitor straightened out. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 16th day of January, 2019. If you have not taken a free trial, I didn't say that time. If you have not taken a free trial, go to the homepage at CFRN.net, and over here in the right-hand column it says 5-day free trial, apply.cfrn.net. If you click on that, you will be brought to this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Click the submit button. All right. Now, once you hit that submit button, you know, like, let me just put in my email. That's my son's name, and how I found us. We'll see, Google. Once you do that, you get this message right here. Okay. This message says, we will email you the link and password in minutes. We'll also send you an email with full details on your free trial. If you have questions or don't receive it, call there or email there. Live room is open 9:30 to 11:30, Monday to Friday. In the meantime, visit the #1 Emini community on the net. You can go to those places. This is what you're going to get. Okay. That's the first thing that you're going to get. And then that's the message telling you that you're going to get a confirmation link. Okay. And you must click on the confirmation link. All right. So now I got to do this page again. Pop that up. There we go. Now over here. Go there. All right. Okay. So now we'll go to the spreadsheet for today. All right. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is, as I said, is the 16th day of January 2019. Today we made 6 ticks in crude and 8 ticks on the ES. That put us at plus 160 on the morning. Today it was really slow this morning. Really, really slow. For the first hour anyway. It took 73 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point we're at plus 110, and we took a total of 6 opportunities. On the month now we're at $1,130. That's over 11 days, averaging $102 a day. Okay, it's the same thing on the year right now because we're in January. Now, gold. We didn't have anything that we could do on gold. I didn't do this one right here. This was the closest thing we had to a trade setup right here. But the cycle was going down too steep, so I left that alone. Okay. And then during the break, I was telling everybody this morning that during the break, it's probably just going to flatten out. And that's exactly what it did right there. Flatten right out. Okay. We didn't do anything with the euro because it was in this range all morning. And I was showing people, now this was at the end of the training room this morning, right in here, where it started to break out of the range. It still didn't give a trade setup. But I was, if you're a range trader, you know, once it established this range right here, you could have bought the bottom, sold the top, bought the bottom, sold the top, sold the top, bought the bottom, sold the top. It was just stuffed right in that range all morning. We didn't get a single trade set up in there on the euro. Okay. Crude, we had crude inventories come out today. I said look for it to get to this area right here, and also to this area right here. And at the time, when I said that, it was in this area up here. Okay. We started out, we missed a trade right here, right at the beginning of the morning. We missed a trade right there, right at the beginning of the morning. And then the markets got really choppy. All right, then the crude inventories came out and it bounced around a little bit. We gave it some time. Then over here, our first trade on crude was a +1. Our second trade stopped us out to the tick. So we're at -7 at that point. And then here we missed. And here we got +5 right there to put us at -2. We had a break even there. Missed a trade there. On the way down right here, we're going into dynamic support, so there was no trade there. We had to break dynamic support. We were going into the low of the day. That's why there was no trade there. But right here, we were able to pick up 7 more ticks to put us at +5. 1 more there to put us at +6. And then we had a break even there. And then we got into the break. Now during the break, it came back up to that important area right there, and then went back up to this one as well. I'm looking for trade setups during the break here, but the slingshot's just not giving it up. There was nothing during the break on crude, and that's unusual, but that's what happened today. All right, on the ES, we had just the one trade that we did on the ES, and it looks like there were a couple that we missed. This one right here, we picked up 8 ticks. Okay, but look at how choppy the ES was this morning. Look at all this right here. It's just a mess. We missed this one. That was right, it was fairly early on, and I was describing it. The high of the day was right here at the time, and Robert had asked me a question, and I was explaining to him, and I missed that. We would have gotten the goal for the day on that one, probably. But we did end up getting the goal for the day on this one over here. And there was one here that we missed, one here that we missed. And then we got into the break. And during the break, not much happening. Okay, so that was our morning session. Let me bring the spreadsheet back up for you. Okay, again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 16th day of January, 2019. We made 6 ticks on crude and 6 ticks on crude and 8 ticks on the ES to put us at +160 on the morning. Today it took 73 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $110 a contract, and we took a total of 6 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $1,130. That's over 11 days, averaging $102 per day. That is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. 1 contract, 2 hours per day. And we have 11 days left to the month. Okay. So if you have not taken the free trial, go to the home page. It's going to be over here now. Go to the home page at CFRN.net. Okay. And in the right-hand column, it says 5-day free trial, apply.cfrn.net. Click on that. When you click on that, you will be sent to this page where all we ask for is your first name, your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit the submit button. When you hit that submit button, you're going to get a note that says this, basically telling you that we're going to send you a confirmation link, and you must click on the confirmation link. Okay. If you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Now let me go over here and see if the confirmation link came in. Unbounce. Okay. Well, that part came in. Yeah, I didn't get the confirmation link. Just looking at it here. Well, anyway, this is basically telling you to check your email because you're going to get a confirmation link. Okay, and if you don't click the confirmation link, then we don't know that you took the free trial.
Did you use the same email address that you've used before?
Yes.
Because Aweber
I've
won't
used
kick it out. They won't.
Aweber was going to stop it.
Yeah, they won't put it through.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you've never taken a free trial with us before, you will get a confirmation link.
There you go.
Okay. And that's all you have to do there. Okay. So that's kind of a new shtick. All right, and with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Okay. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay. Did that.
There you go. I see your chart.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Recap of the recap.
Today, 73 minutes, 2 trades, $110 per contract. 73 minutes, 2 trades, and $110 per contract.
Good job.
That bell seems like it's got an echo.
Is there any other
just
audio issues?
No.
Okay. Good. Well, very good.
No, everything looks good.
All right. John should be here in just a moment, and the other John.
Okay.
We'll be talking
Today
about high volatility happening later today at 11 Pacific. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern. What happens at 2 p.m. Eastern today?
What happens? What?
John P. in the Telegram asked me, will you be talking about high volatility happening later today at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern, and I was just curious.
There is a, hang on, there's a confidence vote in England on
well, that'll create some volatility.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern right there. Theresa May faces UK no confidence vote. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So the U.S. has got its problems with the government shutdown. The U.K.'s got their problems with the whole Brexit issue. And a lot of uncertainty in the world, and yet the market continues to climb. But I do believe this climb's just about done. Now, we still have, of course, 2 more days left in the week, so plenty of time to get up to this highest weekly trading zone at 2634/35. However, I'm not absolutely certain that we haven't seen the high of the week at this 2625. But I'm not ready to. I think this sideways action here is probably due to, in part, what news was out this morning? Did you check it?
This morning we had economic optimism came out, and let's see what else came out this morning. We had import prices, housing market index, crude inventories. I guess economic optimism was yesterday. We also have the beige book coming out today as well at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Eastern. That was the news for today. And then the government confidence vote this afternoon.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So everybody's got the link to come to your webinar at 1:15.
I am sending it. I posted the link. I think I posted the link in here, didn't I? Let me check. Did I post the link in here?
Let me open the chat.
No, I posted a different link in here. Oh yeah, I did. I posted the link in here for the 2 p.m. meeting. I'm not 2 p.m. It's 1:15 p.m. Now I'm sending it by email to everybody who's on the trial right now. Okay, that is what I am doing right now. That's weird. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Huh? I'll send that too.
David on Telegram just asked, any guess why we're in a limbo? Huh, I can actually tell him. 2 p.m. Eastern. UK no confidence vote. Any idea what that means, other than obviously it means they lack confidence, but does she get fired?
Hang on a sec, let me send this to everybody. And I will read to you what it says. It is, U.S. Parliament will vote to determine the confidence in the appointed government. A total of 318 votes are required for May's government to stay in power. So, yeah, I guess.
Okay, UK government no confidence vote. Let's see if mine says the same thing. Probably does. Mine didn't have the what you just read. UK government.
What's that?
What you,
yeah,
what you just read off your news, mine did not have that.
Okay, and there's...
UK
I have more
government braces for no confidence vote after Brexit defeat. Here's how it works.
Labour launched...
is there a beige book out today?
Yes, the beige book is out at 2. I have the Labour Party launched a bid to trigger a general election after the deal setting out the terms of Britain's exit from the EU was rejected by 230 votes. However, one senior party figure has suggested it is unlikely to succeed, with Northern Ireland's dupe and Tory rebels saying that they will back the Prime Minister. The confidence vote is expected to be held at about 1900 GMT, which is just subtract
2 p.m.
5
Eastern.
hours from that.
Is that right?
Yeah. Miss May has told MPs she will return to the Commons with an alternative plan next week, provided she survives the confidence vote. The House has spoken and... gosh, hang on.
What I've got here is the UK faces more political turmoil as another vote in Parliament this afternoon could topple the government and leave a leadership vacuum at a crucial point in the country's history. Lawmakers are debating a motion of no confidence in Theresa May's administration. A vote will follow in the evening, which, should the government lose, could trigger a countdown toward a general election. The motion was tabled by the main opposition Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, who claimed the government's Brexit deal with Europe was now dead after its overwhelming rejection by politicians on Tuesday. That was a historic vote. I forget what the numbers were. It's 400 and something to 200 and something. The vote of no confidence is an attempt by Corbyn to trigger a new general election, which would allow him a chance at seizing power as the next leader of the UK. Oh, so across the pond, they're trying to impeach their leader too. Take me to your leader.
Yeah, it seems.
Oh, he's been impeached. Under the Fixed Term Parliament Act of 2011, Parliament's fixed 5-year term can only be shortened in 2 ways. First, if more than 2/3 of the House of Commons vote to call an election, that means 434 out of the 650. The second way it can happen is Corbyn's plan. If his motion of no confidence tonight is passed by a majority, there is then a 14-day period in which to pass an act of confidence in a new government. If no such vote can be passed by Parliament, a new election of the British people must be held. The election cannot happen for at least another 25 working days. The forecast is that the Labour strategy will fall as, despite May's huge loss on her Brexit vote, enough members of her own party will vote for her government to remain in power.
Dwayne, there's something going on with your audio. I don't know if it's just me. Is it the same way for everybody else? Are you hearing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
What seems, is it just well, who knows? I don't think the new monitor, well, I didn't think it would have any Negative effect on anything. Let me do a quick speed test. Maybe my internet's not up to speed. Let's see. Oh, when a ping takes that long, that's not a good thing. 58 milliseconds. It tells you right there. Oh my goodness. I gotta download. Oh, now it's kicking in. Yeah, but it's topping out at like 70. It says I got 92. I'm supposed to have 250, 300. I mean, it's 92 is still fast compared to what we used to work with back in the day.
Yeah. It's
back in the day at
probably
dial-up.
better than what I have, probably. But
okay. All right. Well, all right. So we know, and we're confirmed on the beige book, right? That was asked.
yeah, the beige book is at 2.
That's
Yep,
2
2 o'clock.
And we got this vote at 2. And so the market up here, this is the S&P. This is a 30-minute chart. And we're doing this. So that thing could, we're an hour and a half away from the beige book. Now the beige book used to create some pretty good volatility. Of late, I don't think it's had as much of an effect as it did years ago. But you never know. I mean, this market is looking for something to move on. And again, I put out a swing trade in the alert channel day before yesterday, I think it was. And that's looking for a couple of days to the downside. A pretty good move, in fact. About, well, I could look at it and see how many points we're looking for. 130 points to the downside. Now, that's one man's idea, but technically, and that has nothing to do with fundamentals, because I am just not smart enough to figure out the fundamentals. You got to figure out the news and then how the market's going to react to the news. Okay, so let's talk about what's happened so far this week. It is Wednesday, the 16th day of January 2019. These are this week's weekly trading zones. Here's the Sunday night Globex open. We got lower on the open, headed down to the zone here at 2571/72. Back up to the zone, a retracement, a leg up. What is this errant here? 25. That shouldn't be there, right? 98. Yeah, sure. 98.99. Yeah, I just forgot. Oh, you can do it. There you go. And so, pull back into the same area, and I'll show you again what I showed you yesterday because it's important. Up to the zone, back down to the zone, and then consolidation for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Sideways, back down, back up. Now, we could, if depending upon what comes out of this vote, or out of if there's anything in the beige book, we could see 34.35 today. If we take out, and I posted that last night, if we trade 25.88, I think then that's going to set us up beautifully for that swing trade to the downside. And, that's kind of, and I'll show you why that's we go.
Did we just... Oh, okay.
Did you lose
I
me
thought we
again?
just lost your audio.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, who knows, maybe just reboot the router. So, we came down to the zone on Sunday night, consolidated down here, made a bullish cross, ran up to the zone, blue and climbing. That's the tail of the tape. And then on this pullback, with the cycle up here, and even though this is red and pulling back, we expect this to be good support until proven otherwise. And so we take another leg up, cruise right through this zone like it's not even there, the zone, and then we pull back. We get a bearish cross here, short-lived because we run right into this support, the same area here, here, and here. Now, as I showed you yesterday, the low of this candle, this wick, lines right up with that bullish cross. And this falls right into that support area. Now you'll notice the low on this candle here, just above that cross, and the high on this candle, if you look left, yes, it's hitting the zone, but if you look left, you'll see right where that bearish cross is. Up we go, and we pull back. We pull back to the BBC here, another leg up, pull back again, leg up, pull back again, leg up, and we just pulled back again. And I think this is going to be just kind of sideways into the stuff we talked about earlier today. Did John show up yet? He's
no.
not feeling very good, but he said he was still going to come on. So let me see if I can get him on here and get him off the hook pretty quick.
Okay. I'm going to jump because I got to go start the other meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I will talk to you.
Okay.
In a while.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was him. And he said he'll be here in just a moment. Okay. Okay. This is the daily chart. It's not the one I want to show you, but I'll show it to you in just a second. I'm having to reconfigure everything. This new monitor is very, very nice. Very kind of someone to be so thoughtful. My wife. I just had no idea that it would have an effect on the whole system. But that's how much I know about Windows 10. I'll have it squared away here in a minute. Okay. I think we got it. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so this is the monthly chart on the S&P. And we've already talked about how we haven't had a bearish cross in a very long time, going back to as far back as my data goes on the continuous chart. And we have more potential for one than we've had in a very long time, because the cycle has crossed below the 50, or it's right at it. Could it turn back up? It could. It really could. The weekly chart looks like this. Bearish cross. This is the ESH9. If I put it on the continuous, it looks almost identical. We had a leg down and a retracement. Let's see where that retracement is right now. We'll go from this high for starters, because it is a monthly chart. So we're sitting right at the 62 on just this leg down. If we look at the whole leg down, there's the 50% retracement of the entire leg down and the 62% retracement of just the last leg down. Do we have to hit the BBC? No, no, we don't have to. Right now, that's putting us at about 2673, which is substantially higher than the highest weekly trading zone. And if we're gonna go there, we probably won't make it this week. We got to work our way through the 60. In order to get there, we've got to overcome the 62% fib retracement, reverse fib. That's an obstacle, and then the 50 is, of course, an obstacle or a perfect place for the market to begin its next leg to the downside. That's on the weekly. But the daily gives us a different picture. Here's the daily. Now, we had a head fake here, and a head fake here, and a head fake here. Oh, we don't know yet. Maybe it's the real deal. Both of these are pegged up top. Now, this low, if you look at the horizontal line on the cursor, see how those line up? This low right here. And we just traded above that today. The low here was 2609.50 and the high today is 2624. Until this pulls back and holds the pullback, I'm not convinced. I mean, look how far this ran up. Once it got on the other side of the BBC, it went from 27.25 up to 28.15. And this one so far has gone from 25.50, we'll call it, up to 26.26. Okay. Okay, here's the Dow. That's the highest weekly trading zone on the Dow this week. 24,400/405. And the Sunday night Globex Open, we had a bearish cross, took us down to the zone. Bullish cross took us back up to the zone. Pull back. Leg, retrace, leg, right up to the zone. Bearish cross, right back into that area of support, just like the S&P. And now it's walked its way up to, this is the next to the highest weekly zone, 24,160/165. Zone to zone to zone to zone. Over and over, same thing. The Russell. The highest weekly trading zone on the Russell is 1475/76. This is the next to the highest, 6162. We spiked that today. Came right back, hit the zone. Actually, we ran up, back down, back up, back down, and now we're heading back up again. And look at all this consolidation in here. One of three things always happens. Consolidation is the most likely. Rejection is second. And this, the slice, is the third. And when that happens, we expect it to come back and test like it did, and then continue in that direction. And I see John's here. John, welcome to the show.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good. Glad you could join us. So this vote that there's no confidence vote today, how big of a deal do you think that is?
You know, I'd say it could be a big deal. It looks like she's going to pass it, get through, because she's got some support from here and there. But you never know. You don't know what the opposition are doing and whether there's going to be a surprise. She's pretty close to losing it, and it's kind of a really, in a way, she's kind of dragging her feet, and for all she might be part of the Remain, more Remain orientated than leaving. And then you've got Boris Johnson, who's a contender to replace her, who is more of a Leave guy. And so it's a real battle between the two forces. And as you saw, the British pound went up yesterday. It's by the way, it's put in a phenomenal monthly bottom, and I would say that if we sort of break above today's highs, or above 129, this thing could really go. It could surprise very dramatically on the upside. It could really leap higher. And generally speaking, the pound has a habit of leading the currencies, and so this is a very formidable bottom that's been put in on the pound. And the more if the Remain forces get the upper hand and they get a second referendum. I mean, think of this: if they call a second referendum, I think you'll see the pound go back to 140, maybe even 150, 155, possibly even 160. And if that happens, the average Brit is going to say, you know what, maybe we should stay in Europe, because right now, when the pound's been a dog for the last couple of years, it's been down in this low end range now for about a year, and it had a rally, and then it came back down, and suddenly the pound goes up to 150 or 160. Would you vote, for the pound to go down again? I don't think so. And so that's a pretty powerful thing, and I think the stock market went up about 8% yesterday in England as well, and it's pushing the markets higher here today. So there are a lot of things that are making it very difficult to leave Europe. It's just not so easy. I mean, this is a thing that's been going on for a quarter of a century or more, and it's most, a lot of young people have grown up, with Britain as part of Europe. It's not 100% part of Europe because they're not using the same currency. But I mean, how do you think the Brits feel? I mean, I don't know whether the average Brit thinks of this, but when they look at their neighbor who used to be poorer than the UK, i.e. Ireland, right? And they're now, the people in Ireland are getting $80,000 a year per person, and the Brits are getting, they're about $50,000 a year. They're sort of, I mean, anybody who's got half a brain is going to say maybe Europe isn't so, because the ease, at the end of the day, it's what I've said a long time ago on this show. In the old days in Ireland, if you wanted to buy a Mercedes, you had to pay twice as much, as you would in Germany. Today, if you want to buy a Mercedes, you can go to your dealer in Dublin, or you can drive to Germany and buy a car and drive it back to Ireland, and they're probably going to get the car at a uniform price. And that's the same with Mexico. Not so long before the NAFTA agreement, cars in Mexico, like in a lot of countries, were twice or three times the price because of tariffs and things. And like they are in China and some of these other places. And now cars are, I saw a news report yesterday where there are people are buying cars, people in the US are buying cars from Mexico. I mean, they're buying used cars and stuff. I never really thought that would happen, but it seems to be happening. So this free trade business is really the way to go. And why do you think the currency went down? I mean, it's been good for the UK's economy because it's made it more competitive, with Europe. But at the end of the day, when you look to Ireland and see how well they're doing versus England, and also the free. I mean, look, there's people. I mean, you know, the thing that appealed to me as a Brit was, you know, I could take my passport. I can go and live in one of any 26 countries. I don't have to even tell anybody I'm there. I can just go. I'm just like a regular citizen. You know, your freedom of movement in you know 26 countries or so is really a really incredible thing. And you can, you know, you can work, and you can, I mean, you have citizen rights in all these different countries. It's just like, you know, being in Florida and going to New York. If you want to work in New York and vice versa, it's virtually the same. There's no borders. I think that's a great thing.
Well, what's the reason behind, what was the original reason behind the Brexit?
Well, the problem is, it's the immigration. Immigration is the problem. Because, you know, you've had this huge influx of people into Germany, and more than 1 million. There's a lot of people trying to get into Italy because of its location. Spain is being invaded every day, so all these people are moving, you know, from the southern countries into the UK, because the UK economy is doing so well. and they get a lot of benefits, just like here in the US. I mean, some of the benefits these people are getting are just mind-boggling in the UK. And the other thing is, they didn't like the heavy-handedness of the Brussels government, which has become a huge bureaucracy. You know, my sister actually is a government, you know, she's been working for the Brussels government for decades. She was there right at the beginning, and I mean, she's retired now, but she gets like you know, the deal that she's getting is just mind-boggling. You know, she's a multi-millionaire because from working just as a you know, in the government there.
Really?
And the European Parliament and all the laws, you know, they passed all kinds of laws and made it much more. You know, they've gone overboard on regulation, including regulating a lot of US companies. So there's some good laws, you know, especially the one about, you know, being able to wipe your record clean on Google and things like that. But most of the laws are very restrictive, and it's become a huge bureaucracy. And I think the UK people didn't like, you know, being managed by Brussels effectively. So there's two sticking points. If they can, you know, they want to maintain more sovereignty and deal with the immigration problem. That's really those are the two key things. And then there's, you know, don't forget, you got a very sort of nationalistic, proud Britain who, you know, just don't want to be part of Europe, period. So that's the argument. But in a world of the future, you know, it's hard. Look, most guys, I'm not particularly, you know, I mean, respect to Branson and Virgin Airways, but I mean, you know, Ryanair, all these airlines are in danger of losing a lot of business if Britain breaks up. I mean, the City of London, which is, you know, the major between New York and London, they're really the two biggest financial hubs in the world. They're losing a huge amount of business to Dublin and Frankfurt and other places right now. You know, if the City of London voted as a unit, it would be like 80 or 90% to remain in Europe. So that tells you. And like you've got Gibraltar, you know, which they want to be 90 or 100% to remain in Europe. Northern Ireland wants to remain. Scotland wants to stay in Europe. Wales wants to stay in Europe. So it's really only pockets of the UK that are the kind of differentiator. And most people probably, when they voted, they say didn't really know what they were voting for. And they you know, a lot of people having second thoughts about it. So especially, I would say, if the currency went up by 30% or more, I think people would probably vote to stay.
Is this the first time have they had a no confidence vote in the past?
No, she had one a few weeks, you know, a couple of months ago, or a month or two ago, and she survived that one. But You know, the second one, you know, sometimes these things happen in the dark of night, you know, backstabbing type thing. And, you know, there could be forces working against her that she doesn't know about. And next thing you know, she's gone. She's just out. And I mean, it's all this Cameron's. It was Cameron's, you know, stupidity in the first place that really made all this happen, you know. So because the way the Brexit vote was handled, there was a lot of bad information put out about healthcare and costs and things like that. And then the other really crazy thing is they have to pay a breakup fee. I mean, the breakup fee is in the tens of billions of dollars, maybe even more, maybe in the hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, it's insane.
Now, what's the story behind that? Why do they have to pay that?
You know what? It's a complicated thing, but it's to do with their commitments. You know, they have the idea is that each country contributes money into Europe, and then it gets redistributed in projects and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why Ireland, Spain, and Portugal benefited so much by joining the European community. You know, the other thing is the community's gotten bigger, you know, in the last 10 years, where all these Eastern European countries have joined now. So it's kind of like, you know, when West Germany and East Germany combined, you know, the economy in West Germany was drained for about 10 years while they assimilated East Germany, because there was a huge difference. It's like North and South Korea, you know. That's happening with some of the poorer countries in Europe now. They're you know, it's going to raise all boats eventually, and the wealth of Europe will improve. But it's kind of disruptive, and it is kind of like a huge tax on the richer countries in Europe. And then you got France. I mean, you know, then you got a lot of people in France right now who are kind of in the same breakup mode as, I mean, they said, it's kind of hard to believe, but if you remember Le Pen, who was the outsider, who looked like she was going to win for a while, a lot of people said, give it another 5 or 6 years, or it is a 5 or 6 year term, she's going to be the next French president, because you know, people are going to want to remain independent. And it's happening before your eyes, because, I mean, it's amazing the way this Macron has just, you know, plummeted in popularity, and now has, you know, all kinds of problems. And it's going to be hard for him to dig himself out of that hole. And, you know, the next election is not that far away, and it may be a huge shift in France. And then, you know, we've been talking about Germany, you know, where the Germans are unhappy because of the immigration situation. So there's a lot of, and then you've got the debt situation in the whole of the EU, and some of the banks, and, you know, so we're really getting into a difficult time where we may go down the same road as where we were in 2011, when the EU was in a major crisis. I mean, if some of the banks go down, like Deutsche Bank or some things like that. Speaking of which, the price of gold today is on the April contract just hit 1,300 a short while ago. The palladium, after being banged down one more time to 800, appears to have found support at 800 and made a nice rebound today. Possibly the lows could be on the platinum. Palladium is up $40 today. It is making new all-time record highs as we speak, decisively and dramatically, actually. Copper is also rebounding, which kind of tells you the stimulus that's helping the markets go higher seems to be having an effect, and it's probably helping the metals. We said a couple of days ago that if the metals broke out of this consolidation, they're probably going to take a pretty big trip higher, at least in $30–40, maybe more on the gold. And the silver's lagging a little bit, but if it kind of picks up here, gets back above 15.75 or so, I think you're going to see 16 pretty quickly. And the you know, the dollar is, you know, it did bounce back a little bit. It's at 95, 70 or so at the moment. I think if the dollar dips from here, it could really ignite the metals. And the interesting thing is all of the currencies, especially the Canadian and Aussie, are have put in some pretty interesting bottoms here in the last few days, and look like major bottoms are being put in place in the currencies right now, which is obviously very supportive of gold. And the gold stocks are starting to act a lot better too. You know, they're about ready to take another move to the upside. There was this big takeover deal a couple of days ago. Newmont has bought Goldcorp. It's now the world's biggest gold producer, and I think this is a forerunner of things to come. You know, when you get these big consolidations ahead of, you know, it's kind of telling you there's a bull market around the corner. And the gold situation looks, it almost couldn't be better today than where it is. It's and obviously, look, if the situation in Europe becomes more unstable, that's probably going to be pretty friendly to gold. And then you've got the democratic uncertainty, and you got all the stuff going on over here. You know, there's plenty of, and look, maybe with the shutdown, people are talking about, you know, what are the job claims numbers going to look like this, you know, on Thursday? Are they going to be a big upside surprise? You know, if there's a 30 or 40,000 increase in job claims, or much bigger, some sort of a surprise upside, you know, that's probably going to add $20 or $30 to the gold price. Then you've got China starting to buy gold in fairly large amounts. Russia's continuing. All these other countries are buying more and more gold. The gold price looks like, and look, we're up at the moment on the markets, right? What happens if I think if the markets have another leg down, you're going to see gold much higher. If there's a retest of this, and we're getting into a place today where we're more likely to correct from somewhere up in these levels in the not too distant future, maybe another week or so. Look, we actually, if you remember what we said last week, said that this pullback would be short-lived. You know, we thought it would pull back a little bit, which it did, and then it went higher again, much to everybody's surprise. And the market is acting really, you know, pretty strong. But the problem with the market today is the Nasdaq is beginning to underperform, and the Dow is much higher, relatively speaking. The mid caps are actually performing extremely well. They're almost the strongest market, which is generally speaking a good thing. So I wouldn't say that, you know, unless we have some sort of a late sell-off today, which I wouldn't rule out. Might be even selling off a bit now. I mean, if we go negative, we're only up 14 on the Nasdaq. If we go negative on the Nasdaq today, excuse me, that'll be really bad. That will not be good at all.
The sideways roll, everything's rolling sideways into the beige book. That's at 2. And then this no confidence vote. That could be a problem. And then also the the Nasdaq's really starting to look weak here. And the other thing is, you know, late Wednesday going into Thursday, if we go negative this afternoon, it could set us up for a down Thursday and maybe a down Friday, which again would not be good. So we're definitely up. You know, we're in a place where the market, I would say, is pretty vulnerable here right now. Well, I think we're going to, on this next downturn, I think we see 2,400 or close to it on the S&P.
Say that again, sorry.
On the downside, we're waiting on a swing trade to trigger, and I think it could take us down pretty close to 2,400.
2,400. Is that what you said?
2,400. Right.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, look, it's kind of like an accident waiting to happen.
Well, if this daily chart right here, you know, we put in this leg down, and then it looked like we were going to rally and recover, and then we fell.
Yeah.
So we had a swing high, a lower swing high, a lower swing high, and then we took out these lows and put this in, and I think I'm just waiting to see where this is going to roll over.
Yeah, if we end up with a doji today, look, we are right up there against that previous support. You're right, and so this resistance. And secondly, it is a V bottom, and obviously, if we got some kind of news that pushes up to 2720 or higher, it would be a different outcome. And you have to be mindful of that, because right now, you don't know what kind of forces are pushing this market higher in terms of the central banks and things. It's a pretty formidable. I mean, listen, this is one of the strongest recoveries we've ever had off a bottom. It's even better than 2009. So you have to factor that in, and also remember, this isn't. I mean, the difference between this and 2009 is we were down in the dumps in 2009. We were negative 3 or 4% GDP growth, and trying to kickstart the economy back then was a monumental undertaking. Here we're in a, we got 312,000 new hires. You've got an incredibly strong economy, and you've got the central banks are in there helping. It's a pretty powerful. You have to be very careful of sudden upside breakup, because look, we don't know what the outcome of something, this vote, how it's going to affect the market. This crushing vote yesterday was bullish for the market, right? So you've got to be really careful when there's things happening that you can't really explain or can. I mean, you look at that chart, it kind of looks a bit unfriendly, right?
This one.
Yeah.
These are 30-minute candles. We bump it up to an hour.
Right. I mean, if we break out, we have a strong breakout this afternoon. That stock could, we could be up another 10 points in the S&P very easily.
This is our highest weekly zone, 2634/35. So we'll see what comes out of the beige book and what comes out of the Brexit vote, and then we'll just simply, do as we always do.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if the job numbers are surprised tomorrow, surprisingly strong or something, that's another thing that could move the market. So, and then there's the dollar factor as well. Remember, if the dollar suddenly broke, because I think if the pound, I'm kind of bullish on the pound. If you want to bring it up, you might want to take a look at it.
Yeah, I had it up here just a minute ago. I'll bring it back up. You want me to put it on a daily? Okay. Okay, that's a daily. Did you want some other time frame?
If you want to put it on a monthly, or try weekly and then monthly.
Let me go at 6B. There we go. Okay. So that's daily. And here's weekly.
I mean, that's a pretty good bottom in the making, don't you think?
It certainly looks like it.
Yeah. And then try the month. Look at the monthly. The monthly is awesome. Sorry.
It looks like a turn. It looks like a transition.
Yeah, I mean, look at when it went up to 30. I mean, it's the opposite of what drove it down. And more importantly, the fact that we haven't gone down to the dumps of the 120s, and if we, this thing to me could really push this pound right up, to the 150s. And you know, another thing is this dollar strength. You know, it's not going to last forever, and I would honestly say, I think if we break 95 again, it's curtains for the dollar in a big way.
Oh, Richard, sorry about that. They were overlapping, and so I just put out 6 this week on the weekly zones. So the 6 you got were the 6 that there are. Okay. All right, John. Anything else you want to cover?
No, listen. I think we rounded it up well. Thanks very much.
All right, John.
Just the other thing is going on here. I mean, this stuff with the FBI and everything. And try, you know, they keep. You remember I said a long time ago we thought they'd thrown everything in the kitchen sink of Trump, and there's always new stuff they come out with. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're talking about probably one of the greatest patriots that ever lived, and they're trying to accuse him of being, you know, working for Russia. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
and why would he? It's not like he needs the money.
No, it's just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And it just shows you what.
He got money, had his own TV show.
You have to scratch your head and say, I mean, it's in all seriousness, I would say, what is going on in this country? I mean, it's almost an embarrassment to the world. Really, it's just terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Well, I mean, they're wanting to boot Theresa May, and then you got, you know, the left here wanting to boot Trump. So I'm sure Putin's got a big smile on his face today. Because he wouldn't stand for such an uprising in his country. So, all right, John. Well, hope you feel better, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Much obliged.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so S&P is the highest weekly zone overhead. Can we get there? Wicks to the top, wicks to the bottom. When you see that, it's probably best to just stay out. Yesterday, we talked about asking God for a dream if you don't have one. Genesis 37:9. Then he dreamed still another dream. If you've already fulfilled the dream God gave you, ask him for another one, a bigger one. The Bible says Joseph dreamed another dream, and the second was bigger than the first. In the first dream, he saw sheaves of wheat on the ground bowing down to him, but in the second dream, he saw stars in the heavens bowing down to him. Now, I never quite connected with what he thought he would gain by telling his brothers about these dreams, but I guess it was part of the plan. Ask God to lift your sights and cause you to aim higher. But a note of caution: before God will give you another dream, he'll watch to see what you do with the one he already gave you. Zechariah 4:10, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Great endings usually start with humble beginnings. In 1 Peter 5:5 and 6, it says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. If your dream is to prosper financially, it's in harmony with God's promises in Deuteronomy 8:18, Isaiah 48:17, 2 Corinthians 9:8. Prosper in biblical terms simply means having enough to bless others. And sometimes that's where, as believers, we might miss the boat. God doesn't bless us just so that we can be blessed. That's just like a stagnant pond. You got to keep it flowing. As he shovels it in, we shovel it out. Because he's God, he's got a bigger shovel. There are 3 scriptural conditions that you must meet in order for your dream to be fulfilled. Number 1, you must be willing to honor God with your present income. That's Malachi 3:8 through 10. Yeah, when my ship comes in, when my company goes public, when I get a raise, boy, then I'm going to really start, being faithful to what God has called me to do. You must be willing to honor God with your present income, not future. He needs to know if he can trust you. Number 2, you must be willing to share what you have and meet the needs of others. Proverbs 11:25. And number 3, you must practice fiscal discipline rather than squandering what God gives you on reckless spending and impulse buying. That's Proverbs 21:20. When you meet his conditions, God promises to bless you and fulfill the dream he has given you for your life. That's our good word for the day. And that's going to do it for this Wednesday. I'm going to try to get the monitor and the router straightened out, and we'll be back tomorrow. And I'll see you in the channel on Telegram. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than a human life changed. Hope. As always, pray hard and stay safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Wayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-923-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on the radio program should not be considered as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.